Candlebox. Self-titled. Hopefully I don't get... I'll probably get hit with it, but it's okay. Hopefully the lead singer gets some money out of retirement. If he even gets any, probably the label. I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, subtitle record, from 93. This is a classic record, and yeah, it deserves to be. In both grunge and post-grunge, though somehow more post-grunge, even though they were actually from Seattle, give or take. Even though nowadays the band's last and final lineup, which I got to see as of the recording of this last night in St. Louis at the Del Mar Hall. I seen the opening acts. They were good. Rubicon, Steve Hurley, I think is his name. Some dude from Texas. Apparently his lead guitarist was great. Had some dreads and all this stuff. He was into his shit and just going at it. Anyone who's seen a guitar player that does it, that goes into it and has dreads, you know there's something there. Got to kind of see him briefly walk by. I was like, oh man, I wanted to say hi, you know. But anyways, hold on a second. Sorry, something came up. But anyways, this band, they were from a band from Seattle. They were kind of lumped in with grunge, or at least they wound up more lumped in post-grunge than anything, despite having been from Seattle and stuff. And yeah, I love their music a lot. And they had put on a good show that night. And it was Kevin, forgetting his last name, Mercedes something like that. And plus, this album had like some big hit singles that helped them out. Change, You, and Far Behind, and Cover Me are like the big songs that came off this record that really did it for the band. So, I'll say it blew them up. And I love some other songs. And weirdly enough, here's the thing about them. I know a lot of people thought some people dismiss this band and says they're not, but they're actually pretty good. And the fact that they still, I'd say at least at the St. Louis show I went to, they ended their last time in St. Louis, or last time we'll ever see them again on my end of things, with a bang. What songs I could remember, which were mostly from the first record here, I was able to sing along with as best as I could. Wasn't the best on my end anyway. Better on his end, thank goodness. And all the members that were in the band, despite not being original members, apparently he treated them well. And like they were still part of the band, which was cool. And he's getting along with the audience. He's very charismatic, has a good sense of humor to him and stuff, about stuff. Was nice and autographed bunch of things. Apparently he's drumming with the drummer near the end thing with a jam session thing. And then when he's done with the sticks, he basically signs them and throws them out in the crowd. Just cool rock star, humble rock star stuff. You know what I'm saying? Some more I got out of than what I would say about that Nickelback concert for me personally. Even though I can at least say Nickelback is better than Theory of a Dead Bitch, which is the whole point of why I went to that concert to begin with. And Brittany Gilbert's, unfortunately. Oh God. They performed fine. I still like Noah Henson and his time with Pillar, personally to me, even though some people will think Pillar is one of the lesser Christian bands, and they had their moments where they were, and maybe their moments where they weren't. I guess you could say. I mean, they were kind of in the new metal thing, so that was part of it too, and the butt rock. So there's that. The only thing is, because of Pillar, I was able to show a better version of Shine than the original from Collective Soul, and that's the only good thing with that. Neither here nor there, but I'm getting off track. I apologize. This thing's a classic. I even love the moments where I feel like they were a blues band initially, because They must have got started around the time prior to grunge being a thing, while they were in Seattle. And you have your, and even to the point of getting kind of jazzy with no sense. To me, Blossom was also a song from this, that it's a deep cut on here. They also played live on the set they did in St. Louis. Other songs, even Rain's an awesome one to me. I think Arrow's also a good one as well, of the deeper cuts. And He Calls Me Home's not a bad closer. That I don't know if I would rather pick Cover Me as a closer, but instead of the penultimate. But overall, this is pretty much their best record. You like, for good grunge or post grunge that has a nice little blues rock, some slight jazzy flavoring, some acoustic stuff here and there, of course. Yeah. This is a classic. 30 years. Somehow of the bands that came from that time frame, and given the current situation nowadays with the 90s alt rock nostalgia booms starting to come in from bands like Teenage Wrist and stuff that I covered earlier in this channel. Yeah. Heck yeah. I feel like this is one of those bands that did get slept on and got kind of get overlooked. Granted, they had their moments where it was kind of because I feel like their Fall Out Lucy was really a sophomore slump situation, and that they were kind of playing into the grunge, post-grunge scene and not really allowing their bluesier rock flavoring, even flavoring to blossom. Puns half-heartedly intended, given one of the songs on there is called Blossom. But anyways, this album's, yeah, if you haven't had a chance to give Candlebox a shot, like I didn't get a chance until I knew I was going to go to see them in concert, man, like, I mean, it's a little late to go see them now, unfortunately, because there's only 2 shows left in their tour. But if you did get a chance to see them before the now retirement of Kevin, lead singer Kevin's retirement, yeah, I'd give this album a shot first, for sure. And then I would personally go to Happy Pills. That, I feel like, was probably the album we should have gotten as a follow-up instead of Lucy. Don't get me wrong, the only thing about Lucy, that's on Lucy, that I like is literally the lead single and first track of this record, of that record, Simple Lessons, which they did play. And I think it's the only song from that record they played. Don't blame them. Nothing else felt memorable, and it just felt kind of the time, fillerish. Their comeback in 2008, I'm not sure I really wanted to go to Candlebox for anti-Bush stuff, especially since I was more into Green Day. Their follow-up, I didn't mind the Love Stories and Love Thing, Other Stories, whatever they call that one. But their follow-up after that was weird pop rock that barely had any bluesy elements, and either their bluesy rooted elements, and they just... that Wolves luckily made up for, but it started off kind of in a weird White Stripesy Royal Blood vein, which didn't bother me. I like those bands, so don't go to them for that, but it's fine. But that's mostly what I would say. Most of them are just fine in the, I'd say their lowest lows is still higher. It feels like higher highs than Nickelback's, I'll tell you that. So that's kudos. And I don't know if the lead singer will ever say this, but thanks for the show at Saturday, from Sunday in St. Louis at the Delmar Hall. I enjoyed it very much. I'll probably say this again when I finally start talking about the new record. I won't be able to talk about the rest of the discography outside of this video here. And I think it was some airports, I'm blanking on the name of it. Disappearing in Airports. There it is. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, Disappearing in Airports. That had like some weird Matchbox 20 vibes, and his voice was auto-tuned to sound sort of like Rob Thomas, and I was confused. But I didn't hate it because I've heard worse from Matchbox 20 than this. I've heard better than Matchbox 20 than this, but I've heard worse. And it like made me, and that's not even the new record, because the new record's pretty good, but I almost wish the new record was more like this record, I guess. But I didn't want to come in from Matchbox 20, so it's kind of on the lower end because it's not, doesn't feel like a Candlebox record. So, but Wolves was a nicer thing. It was better. It was. We'll see how the Long Goodbye, their final 8th and final record, is going to be. I'll talk about that when that comes out. I've decided I'm going to because of this. So, yeah. That's my thoughts on both the self-titled and the band's discography in general anyway. What did you guys think of my thoughts on this album and this apparent 90s nostalgia classic? As well as the rest of what is their discography, and are you looking forward to the Long Goodbye? If at all. Or even a chance to want to see them live while you had a chance to, because I do kind of recommend it, actually, given what they put out in St. Louis. I'll tell you that. Though I did see something in Kentucky or whatever this place they were at, and it didn't sound as good as what we got at the Delmar Hall. I'll say that. So we got one of the good ones, performances from them. A good night. A really good night. Horns up, masterclass worthy, actually. But yeah, I definitely will say that about this record for sure. Once again, what did you think of this video and everything I've had to say involving Candlebox in general? Leave a comment below, let me know. If you like this video, rock the like button with thrust you must. And as always, guys, keep it random, keep it real, keep it rocking. I'll see you in the next video. Take care, y'all.